Hello my lovelies and welcome to another video on my channel. Thank you very much for joining me today as always. This video is going to be about creating this mani here. We have a purple to white ombre with some silver hibiscus flowers. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I did find this design quite tricky to do on my non-dominant hand. So I am right-handed. I always do my right hand first because I find it more time consuming. And also, to be honest, if I can do a design on my right hand, I can do it on my left. But I just wanted to let you know I did find this one quite tricky. I probably didn't help myself using the silver gel paint because it's very reflective. When you use this, it basically reflects the light that I use to do my mani. So it is a little bit tricky. It could be easier, you know, if you did like a darker color, if I'd done black or something, but I did want the silver. Anyway, I was really happy with how it turned out, but I just wanted to let you know that it is quite tricky doing this on your non-dominant hand. So just allow yourself plenty of time and patience. In terms of what I used today, my usual rubber base in opaque baby pink. The purple I used, this is from that recent haul I got. This is Born Pretty in BWH04. The white I'm using is Madame Glam Perfect White. Yes, you're quite right. Ideally, I should really be doing the same brand for an ombre, but I didn't have white in Born Pretty or purple. And anyway, you get the idea. Ideally, use the same brand if you can. I've got my gel top coat. The gel paint is the Madame Glam Silver Gel Paint. I love this stuff. It's really lovely. But yeah, it is super reflective, so it can be a little bit tricky to work with. You will also need a brush to do your flowers, and I used my long fine liner. You probably want something that's a reasonable length, but more importantly, very fine at the tip. You will also need an ombre brush. Unless you prefer doing your ombres with a sponge or a normal brush, that's entirely up to you. You can also use the brush from the bottle as well. Just wipe it off really well before you put your brush back in the bottle. And then a dotting tool as well. So mine are double-ended. You will ideally need two size dotting tools. You'll need a larger one and a smaller one as well. So if you don't have one that's that small, you can always use a toothpick or something like that. Equally, if you've only got sort of a large one, you can use that and then just apply lesser pressure to get a smaller dot. That's another alternative as well. I used my palette. This, to be honest, is probably optional. It's just, I just used it to pick up or put down a little bit of the silver gel paint, but you could probably use something like a lint-free wipe. And I think that's everything that I used. In terms of the products, the NSI products, which I got the Born Pretty gel polish and the brush from, I do have a code with NSI Australia that will get you 10% off your first order. I will pop that up on the screen. And I think that's everything. If there's anything else that I find that I used as I go through the video, then I will let you know. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Let's get into it. So I'm just coming in with a first coat of that purple with sort of a purpley deep red. I'm not sure what color you call it. It's very pretty either way. It's a very rich color. It's very deep. It's perfect winter color, which is ideal for the weather at the moment. So I thought I would go with this. I also thought it would make a really nice contrast with the white. So yes, ideally, I know I've got different brands here, and that's not ideal. If you do have the same, you know, the two colors that you want to ombre in the same brand, then that is better. But I just didn't have that. So, and I really wanted this color with the white, because I personally like ombres where the colors are really quite disparate. You know, you've got one really dark color and then a much lighter color. I think you get a more vibrant sort of ombre with that. So that's what I was aiming for. So the little finger and my index finger, I'm just going to go in with a layer of this purple. I could have done the ombre at the same time. I just chose not to. Because the ombres can be a little bit tricky. They can also be a little bit messy. So it's quite easy to, you know, accidentally knock a nail that you've already done. So I just thought I would get these nails done first. They were the most straightforward and the easiest. It's just basic gel polish application. I wasn't doing anything fancy at this point. So I just did a layer of the color on those two. And then I popped it in the lamp. Because it is such a dark color, I cure all dark colors for 60 seconds. So some of them, depending on what brand you have, some say 30-second cure, some say 60. But when it comes to colors that are this dark, I always like to err on the side of caution, and I always go with a 60-second cure. So don't forget to cap your free edge as well, just to finish off that look nicely, and give a little bit of extra protection on your free edge as well. So this bit, I think this was my mistake. I just went in with a little bit too much of that color, and so I didn't get a very nice even distribution across the nail. So here I'm just leveling it out and also getting to that bit closer to the side wall on the left. So yeah, that was me. I got a little bit carried away, as you do sometimes. And then that goes in the lamp, as I said, for 60 seconds. That's just my little cleanup brush. Sometimes I like to go around the cuticle area just to give it a nice bit more of a rounded look. And then that's going to go in the lamp. And now we're coming in with our ombre. So I'm going to do the darker color up near the cuticle area and then the white at the free edge. Now, just a sort of word of warning or what have you, if you have any sort of suspected allergies to gel polish, please do not do your ombre the way that you are about to see me do it. The polishes I have, they're HEMA-free. I'm lucky enough I don't have any allergies, or so far, touch wood, to gel polish. So I'm quite happy doing my ombres this way. I also don't do them very often. So I'm happy doing my ombres this way, but it is messy. You do get gel polish on your skin. So if you have any concerns, just do your ombre a different way. So you can also do an ombre using the brushes that come with the pots as well, with your color. Just be very careful. Make sure you wipe off your brush very well before you pop it back in the bottle. You can also do it with a sponge. A sponge, you can also get a little bit of gel polish on the skin. You can also use, oh, what's that tape stuff called? I can't think of what it's called. I used to have some, I don't have any anymore. But you know that tape that you can put around, well, it's a liquid latex tape, liquid latex, that's it, that you can put around your cuticle area and side walls as well. So that's another option for you. I got a little bit messy there, so I'm just going to wipe that off. Probably completely unnecessary, seeing as I'm about to blend the colours anyway, but I actually didn't want that darker colour to get onto my white brush, so I just wiped that away. So yes, the other option you can do is, you'll see me when I do my ombre and I swipe my ombre brush horizontally. You can also swipe it vertically as well, which is a little bit less messy. I personally, because I actually quite like that blended look that you get when you swipe the brush horizontally. If you don't like that, or you're not worried about that, then you can just use your brush and just go swipe vertically instead of horizontally. So go with what works for you. But yes, if you do have concerns about allergies and things, then please do not do what I am doing here. Oh, I'm just shifting there. I was a bit concerned that I was out of frame. It's also handy, I think that's one thing I forgot to mention, just on the side, is just to have like a lint-free wipe with maybe a little bit of your cleanser on it, or even just a dry one, just to wipe off some of that polish. So when you ombre, you want to get the colors with a nice ratio between the two colors. And sometimes you can find your brush gets a little bit thick with color, a bit heavy with the color, and you're not getting as nice an ombre as you would like. So just wipe your brush off. You'll see me do it numerous times, just to make sure I get the ombre that I like. You also saw me there, I just added a little bit more white gel polish. So obviously it's a lot easier to do that with the color that you've got on the free edge, but that tends to be the color that I top up anyway. Excuse me, my voice is going. So I just go in with a little bit of extra polish on the end there. And as you can see, make sure if you do this method, then make sure you clean away any polish that you've got on your skin before you put your hand in the lamp. You definitely don't want to be curing the gel polish to your skin. As I said, ideally it's not great to get the gel polish on your skin anyway. I do it very quickly, and so the gel polish isn't there for very long. And as I said, I don't do ombres very often. I actually don't think I've done an ombre for a year or two, so I wasn't too concerned. But if you do have concerns, then yeah, definitely do your ombre a different way. So with the second coat, you basically repeat what you've done on the first coat. So you still butt the colors up pretty close to each other. You can have them touching or not. It's up to you. You can have a little gap between them. But you basically repeat exactly what you did on the first time, because you're not going to lose the ombre that you got with your first layer. You're just going to go over it as you blend the colors a second time. Then you're going to end up with your ombre in the same place. So you can just do what you did the first time, and that will give you a nice blend. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes, just putting your gel polish on half your nail, because, you know, often if you've got a little bit too much gel polish on your brush, but then you can just manipulate it around your nail, as you can see I'm doing here. Just got a stray hair there, probably dog fur most likely. And then I'm just coming in with the white. You can also do one nail at a time if you want to, and freeze cure them. These two gel polishes that I'm using, they're not particularly thin. Actually, my white's quite old. I did find it a little bit goopy to use, actually. So if you've got really thin gel polishes that you're using that run, then you can do the ombre one nail at a time and freeze cure between your nails. So that is another option for you. So I'm just going off and drying off my brush once again. And you can go as high up or not on your nail as you choose. It really depends on how thick of an ombre you want, if that makes sense. So if you want the nail, you know, your colors, you know, you've got your dark and then your mid color that, you know, you create with the blend, and then your base color. If you want those roughly third way on the nail, then you can go higher up the nail. If you want your middle band to be a little bit thinner, then don't go as high up, and then your ombre will be a little bit skinnier. Got another feather. I don't know what goes on. Does anyone else find that as soon as you sit down to do some gel polish, like all this fluff and dust just miraculously appears from nowhere? I don't know how that happens. Anyway, it's obviously sticky stuff and attracts it. I'm going to go with that. So I haven't sped this up or slowed it down. This is the speed with which I do my ombre. So you can do as much or as little as you like. Just do it until you get the blend that you like. The other thing, of course, that you need to be careful of or conscious of when you're doing an ombre is that the two colors that you're using make a nice color combined. So you need colors that, yeah, like in this case, I'm going to end up with this, you know, with a paler version of my darker color. But just be conscious, because, you know, not all colors blend nicely. As pretty as the colors might be on their own, they don't necessarily blend together to make a nice color. So that's just something else to keep in mind as well. Looks like little windscreen wiper motions, really, doesn't it? That's really the best way to describe it, really. Just going a little bit backwards and forwards till you get the blend that you like. And then when I finish that, I cure that for 60 seconds as well, just to be, because I've got the dark color. So always go with the cure time for the darker color, not the lighter color, or the longest cure time, basically. Go with that just to make sure that you get a proper cure. So yes, I think I mentioned in the intro, this did take me quite a while doing my non-dominant hand. The ombre took obviously a little bit longer as well, but the design itself did take longer. But it was really pretty. I'm actually really happy how it did turn out. But yeah, it was just it was a little bit tricky. But I really like these little flowers. I think they're really cute. And I've been going through a bit of a flower phase lately. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I mean, I've always loved flowers anyway, but just going through a little bit of a phase. Oh my gosh, there's another one. I don't know what was going on in my room today. I had the dogs in there with me. I'm going to blame them. That's probably what happened. And in the lamp with that one, and now we are going to come in and do the design. I did, and I think I cut the footage. I think my dog barked or something. I did actually remove the tacky layer of those 4 nails. It's not essential, you don't have to. I just like to when I'm going in with quite intricate designs like I was going to do with the flower. Probably didn't need to do it on the index finger and the ring finger because they're just little waves, but I did remove the tacky layer anyway. I just find sometimes when you're doing intricate designs, leaving the tacky layer on can help the polish spread a little bit, your design spread, and I didn't want that because I was doing the flowers. I wanted the polish to stay exactly where I wanted it and not move around too much. So I did remove the tacky layer. I apologize for not actually leaving that footage in. I didn't realize I'd cut it completely. But yes, as I said, it's optional anyway. And here I'm just coming in with a few waves on those two nails. I wanted something, I didn't want to leave them completely plain, but I didn't want them anything that was too competing with the hibiscus either. So maybe I should have gone plain instead. I don't know. What do you reckon? I'm always debating that. I always think, like, do I end up making my nails look too busy by putting a bit of design on each nail? Would I be better off just doing the design on the 3 nails and leave the other 2 blank? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I can never quite decide. Probably comes down to how much time I had. I wasn't short for time today, which turned out to be just as well. Especially when I was doing my other hand. So yes, it was quite handy. This is not a design to do if you are short for time, just to give you the heads up. You definitely want to have a little bit of time set aside for this. This was also the first time I'd done this design as well. So if I was to do these flowers again, I have got a little bit of experience with them and I could sort of go in and probably do them a little bit quicker next time. But yeah, first time, definitely leave yourself some time. So with the flowers, what I'm doing is I am going in initially with the larger side of my dotting tool, and I'm doing 5 larger dots spaced relatively evenly around the nail. It is a flower, so it doesn't need to be precise. I mean, most flowers aren't perfect, so don't stress too much about it. And then with the slightly smaller end of my dotting tool, I'm pushing 2 dots on either side of each large dot, and they're slightly lower and to the left and to the right. So hopefully as you're watching it, what I just said there makes sense, because what you're going to do is what I do now is grab your brush and just very lightly drag from your large dot to your smaller dot, and then angle your brush slightly towards the center of your nail to form the petals. And this is tricky. This would be a much easier design to do on somebody else. As you will see here, I have to twist my hand in all sorts of weird positions. It's also because, as I said, the silver is very reflective of the light. I have quite bright lights to try and make the image as bright as possible on the videos, but the silver is very reflective, so that does make it a little bit tricky. But to get the petals, you really do need to move your hand around, which is also another reason I removed the tacky layer, so that the polish was less likely to spread. So it is quite tricky. It would definitely be easier, I think, to do this on somebody else. Having said that, I haven't done that yet, but just the angles that I had to put my hand on, I just imagine it would be easier to do this on somebody else. But you know, what's life without challenge? It's all good fun. You get to learn something every time you do a different mani, and yeah, it's all good fun. So I would definitely do this design again. I did really like it. And yeah, so now I'm just going in and I'm putting a few little dots in the very center. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of a stem on my hibiscus. And then I cure that. These gel paints are a 60-second cure. I think I just freeze cured it from memory, but either or, once I was finished with it, you do need to cure them for 60 seconds. And I'm just doing same thing on this finger. I was trying to get a bit more centered there so you can see a bit easier. So these are my 5 larger dots. When I say larger, they're not particularly big dots. This still is not my largest dotting tool, but it is sort of a mid-size dotting tool. And then I turn my tool around and I'm just putting a dot slightly lower and to the right, and then slightly lower to the left of each of the larger dots. And this is what they're the dots that you connect to the larger one before you bring your brush down to form the sides of the petals. It's a bit hard to describe. Hopefully just watching it is is probably a little bit more descriptive than me trying to form words on a Sunday. It's never really a good idea. So sometimes I did go in and grab a little bit of extra gel paint. I just basically just sort of did a bit of trial and error, because you don't want to go in with a thick hand here. Also because I do have quite small nail beds as well. So if you were doing this on a nail tip or somebody with larger nail beds, then it would be easier. Or probably 4 petals, and maybe I could have done a fewer petal as well. That might not have been a bad idea. But anyway, as I said, I was happy with how it turned out. But yes, it is a little bit fiddly. It is a little bit tricky. So yeah, allow yourself time and patience. Don't have a strong coffee before you do this. So yes, but it was good. But yes, as you can see, I do end up twisting my hand around on all sorts of funny angles. The good thing about doing this with gel paint is that they are quite opaque and one coat is enough. So I only did each flower once. I did not go over this again. I just did it the once, so that's quite handy as well. And I think you see me stuff up here in a minute, which is quite a handy way to show you how I fix it. Because, you know, I wasn't freeze curing it as I went, because you've already put the dots down. That was not going to work. I had to finish off my flower. But what I probably should have done is finished all the petals and then cured it, which is not what I did. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. I was quite happy with my flower. And then I come in and do my stem, and I think I'll make a little slip here and go, oops. It's like, oh, really, did I have to? So yes, but that's okay. It is an easy enough thing to fix. While I had my brush in my hand, I just did my dots, and then I come in with my cleanup brush. I dip it in a bit of isopropyl alcohol, and I'm just removing it. Now, metallic paints, glitter paints, anything that's got a little bit of shimmer to it can be a little bit tricky, and sometimes you have to have a few goes to remove them, which is what you can see here, because glitter just loves to stick to your nails. So that's another good reason to remove the tacky layer beforehand. Believe it or not, it actually makes it a little bit easier to remove that layer, because this is very glittery, very bright. It stuck to the nail anyway, but as you can see, I got there in the end, so that was fine. So it's always handy to have a cleanup brush next to you with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol or cleanser or something that you can just remove the gel polish before you pop it in the lamp, of course. Now I'm just coming in with my top coat, and I just top coat all 4 nails. As usual, I did my camera, oh my goodness, Sunday brain. I did my thumb off camera, but my thumb is exactly the same as my 2 feature nails there with the flowers. So I did that nail exactly the same. So I'm just coming in. Always make sure you cap your free edge with the top coat. The most important layers that you can cap your free edge are your base coat and your top coat. Your color coat is optional. I personally prefer the look of it. I think it looks a little bit more neater and a bit cleaner and tidier, but if you don't like that look, that's fine. You don't need to do the color coat, but definitely do your base coat and top coat. It will have a big impact on how long your mani lasts for. And trust me, when you've put the amount of time that I did with this design, I want to keep this design for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping I won't get bored with this one too quickly. I probably won't, because I actually really do quite like the way that it turned out. But it was all good. I did enjoy it. So yeah, if you give this one a go, do let me know. Let me know how you get on. As I said, just leave yourself plenty of time to do your non-dominant hand, because I did find it a little bit tricky, but very enjoyable. So it was good. I hope everybody is well. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I'm just going to finish off my top coat here, and I'm going to pop that in the lamp for 60 seconds. This is a 60-second cure, this one. The other thing you could have done, of course, is top coat first and then do your hibiscus flowers over the top of your top coat. So we might do that next time, because that's another alternative. This gel paint sits very nicely over top coat. So thanks everybody. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all well, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care everyone. Thanks. Bye.